Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today I want to share my top sneaky tricks for saving money on luxury. Some of these tips are going to be more massive in terms of like the percentage of savings, while some of these might not be as much, but they can be like everyday things that you do that will definitely add up as you continue to make more and more luxury purchases. So I have my notebook here because I wrote down all of the tips that I wanted to talk about today, so that's what I'll be referencing throughout the video. Some of these might be no-brainers, but some of these might be items that you haven't necessarily considered doing, or you didn't realize there were options available to you that you might want to consider exploring in the future. The first topics that I do want to touch upon are around sales, like luxury sales. And here I want to focus on the sales that happen for Chanel and then for Hermes, because those are some of the top brands you think about that like don't really go on sale, and you feel like the only option for getting them on sale is going the pre-loved route, and that's not necessarily the case. So starting off with the Chanel sale, I want to touch upon how the sale works and to share some expectations around what is included in the sale. The Chanel sale happens about twice a year. There's one usually in the spring and one in the fall. 2019 specifically, I know I went to the sale that was in May and I went to the sale that was in December. The key point here is, how did I know about those sales? I signed up for the Chanel emails, and I literally was just getting emails from Chanel. It was a few days before the sale. I got an email giving me a heads up, with the date and saying the sale is coming. And then once the day came, there was another email that came out saying the sale has started. You should inquire with your boutiques. So it's possible that some boutiques do not participate in the sale, but I would imagine most boutiques would. What goes on sale is the ready-to-wear and the costume jewelry. If your boutique also sells shoes within it, I do believe the shoes are also part of the sale. There are no bags and there are no small leather goods and no fine jewelry or watches, and there's no accessories. By accessories, I mean like scarves, gloves, hats, that nature. The sale ranges from about 30 to 40% off, and the merchandise are from 2 years ago. So not 2 collections, but 2 full years prior. Those are the items that would go on sale. When it comes to ready-to-wear, my understanding is that corporate will actually resend out ready-to-wear pieces to all of the different boutiques. When it comes to the costume jewelry, however, each boutique will be selling whatever remaining inventory they have from 2 years ago. The in-store experience is the same when you go to purchase sale items versus when you go to purchase the regular collection. The ready-to-wear had like separate racks that had like a small sale sign on them, and the costume jewelry, you typically have to ask and they'll bring out the tray that has the costume jewelry that's on sale. But like, you get all the same things. Like if you buy jewelry, you get all of the boxes, shopping bag, and the ribbon and all of that good stuff. So the in-store experience is definitely the same. And you're going to see some things next to me, and these are actually to be a little bit of eye candy and also examples of pieces that I have personally picked up from using all of these tips. So from like the Chanel sale last year in May, I picked up this bangle right here. It is like an enamel bangle. I'm pretty sure this was like 30% off when I bought it. So remember to sign up for those emails. Moving on to Hermes and buying Hermes on sale. I actually have a dedicated video on this because I went to the Hermes sale last year. I'll link that above up here in case you're curious to find out some more information. I go into a lot more depth in that video, but at a high level, Hermes does go on sale. It is outside of the Hermes boutiques, so they will be in an entirely separate location. They don't necessarily happen every single year. They don't necessarily happen at a set cadence when we're talking about the United States. In Paris, I do believe they have a sale that happens regularly, 2 sales a year. But when it comes to the States and some other cities in North America, I think it it can vary year after year. Because the sale does not happen within a boutique, the shopping experience is very, very different. For a lot of the items, you do not get the standard packaging with them. So, you know, I did get these pair of shoes, as you can see, and the shoes did come with a box and dust bag. But I also got like bracelets. Oh, I got this bracelet and another bracelet. All of those did not come with any box or any dust bag. The scarves do not come with boxes. It's really just the shoes that have boxes because they're laid out inside their own box, but everything else doesn't really have anything. You get an unbranded white shopping bag, and all of the individual items that you purchase at the sale are marked with an S. So the shopping experience is very different. I would definitely reference that video for more information and also to see what it was like. You should expect long wait times to be able to participate in the sale. And then there are also restrictions on how many items you can purchase within certain categories so that they can curb the heavy reselling from purchasing these items on sale. The categories of items that you can expect at these sales would be definitely ready-to-wear, shoes, scarves, costume jewelry, and some miscellaneous. And by miscellaneous, there were some like hats and gloves, those kinds of accessories as well. The Hermes sales cover both men's and women's wears. I did not see any of like the home or baby items there, so that's just for reference. In terms of the sale percentage at the Hermes sales, they're all from about 50 to 60% off. In terms of being notified, I would definitely follow like the purse forums to know when these sales are upcoming so that you can plan for them. All right, so now I want to shift gears a little bit to share some additional tips, and these are more of those things that you may not have realized are options that are available to you and can help you save little bits along the way. And one of them is definitely to check the sales tax rates in your neighboring states. So for example, New York City does not charge any sales tax on clothing and shoes if they are below $100, which is great. But when we're talking about the world of luxury goods, there aren't that many things that are going to fall within that category. So if you're based out of New York and you're able to travel to New Jersey, there is no sales tax on clothing and shoes because they are considered life necessities. The only exception is if there is an exotic or like fur type element to it, then sales tax will apply. For the majority of clothing and shoes items, there will be no sales tax added. So if you're based out of New York City and you're able to, I highly recommend shopping at like, you know, Garden State Plaza Mall, where they have a lot of these brands present, and you would be saving on tax. So as an example, these are the Gucci slides that I have. I'm not going to bring them really close because they are sandy from the beach, but these were purchased in New Jersey so that we were able to save on tax. At the time, my boyfriend and I each bought a pair, so you know, it adds up. When you just look at one item, it might not seem like it's a lot, but if you are planning on purchasing pretty significant pieces across shoes and clothes, like it can quickly add up. You could quickly save some money that, you know, can let you buy a new card wallet or save for the next bag that you want to buy and things like that. So it's just something to consider if you're interested in it. Another state that's close to New York is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania very similarly does not charge any tax on shoes and clothes. The clothing exceptions are a little weird, like swimwear you can get taxed on, but regular everyday clothes you won't, and formal wear you can get taxed on, but hosiery you won't. Like it gets kind of specific, but I did buy like a pair of Manolo Blahniks while I was in Pennsylvania, and I didn't pay any tax on it, so that was helpful, right? That was another like $70 I didn't have to pay. You can ship items to Pennsylvania, and if you have friends or relatives who live in that state, and or you have reason to be regularly traveling to one of those states like Pennsylvania, then you can always purchase your item from a high tax state like New York and then get it shipped over there. The tax rate applies to the shipping address and not at the point of sale location, so you might be able to benefit from tax savings that way. Some other neighboring states around New York that might be helpful is also Delaware. They have 0% sales tax. If you're on the West Coast, Oregon doesn't have any sales tax either. So if you wanted to make larger purchases and you live close to Oregon and you want to make a trip out of it, or you have reason to be in Oregon, that's another great option as well. It's not crazy amounts, but if you happen to find yourself in one of those states, then that's definitely a bonus, right? Hawaii also has lower tax rates. It's about half of what it is in New York. So Hawaii is another place that I like to shop at because of the lower tax rate. So remember to check your neighboring states or states that you frequently visit and see what their sales tax rates are and see if you can benefit from the difference in rates. Speaking of Hawaii, I really have a soft spot for Hawaii. Not only is it a beautiful place in paradise, but it also has lower tax rates, as I just discussed. And there's also this concept of Hawaii price. Because of the high rates of tourism and the amount of revenue that's generated from the tourism, the Hawaii price is another incentive to bring tourists onto the island and also to spend money there. So this applies to the world of luxury fashion. So the Hawaii price is actually rather specific to each of the brands. There can be some brands who have like a blanket 10 or 15% off everything. So that encompasses the handbags, shoes, SLGs, ready to wear, and accessories, things like that. And then there are some brands that have specific savings for certain categories. So it's like 20-25% off handbags and wallets, 20% off shoes, and like ready to wear is not included. So each brand is a little bit different. If you have a specific brand in mind, you can check online to see if they have a Hawaii price. And then of course, sometimes depending on the time of year that you go, they can have additional promotions that are happening at the time. So then you can do like savings on top of savings. There are some brands like Hermes who do not have Hawaii price, but then going back to my last tip, well, depending on what state you come from, you may benefit from the lower tax rate. My next tip, which might seem rather obvious, is to leverage the premium outlets. And I shared in a previous Black Friday haul video that I picked up some items from Woodbury Commons, and because I'm based out of New York, that is my preferred premium outlet location. I have been to some other premium outlet malls across the country because it is a chain, but personally I feel like the one in New York is the most robust and the most well stocked. It can be a little bit hit or miss because it does depend on the inventory of stock they have at the time. So rather than going in with a very specific I want this specific design or this specific color of wallet that came out a couple years ago, there's really no guarantee that that item will be at the outlet location. So if you go in with an open mind, a lot of times I'm pleasantly surprised with what is available. And then sometimes there are some duds. If you haven't been to Woodbury Commons and you are visiting New York, I highly recommend that you make a visit out there if you're interested in seeing what kinds of luxury items you can purchase at those outlet prices. And there are so many brands that are at the Woodbury outlets. They span from DIOR, FENDI, there's DIOR men's store now. They have YSL, Givenchy, Acne Studios, Loewe, there's an Isabel Marant store that's opening up, Balenciaga is already there. So there's a whole bunch of brands that have some sort of presence there that I think it's really great, and I think it's worth the time and or the effort to make it there. If anyone is curious to see a Woodbury kind of vlog, to see what it's like to be there and what kinds of brands are available, let me know. I can try to plan a trip out there just so that I can share what to expect. I would beware of the outlet products. So there are some brands that I suspect, this is just wholly my suspicion, but I suspect that some brands actually specifically manufacture items to hit the shelves at the outlets, rather than it being overstock or additional inventory that they have that they want to continue to sell. Not only are there physical outlets, there are also online retail outlets. So the Outnet is the Net-a-Porter's kind of outlet site, which I think is great for finding luxury pieces. You know, if you're unable to physically go to like Woodbury, for instance, there are other online retailers that work in that kind of outlet capacity for you to be able to pick up some of those pieces. Just as an example to share, like I picked up this little Fendi pouch, I want to say like 5 years ago from the Fendi outlet, and I still absolutely love using this piece, and this has really instigated my love for the Cellier line at Fendi. So just an example of something that you can pick up. My next tip is to maximize your credit card rewards. I'm not a professional financial advisor, nor am I recommending that folks run out and get a credit card to be buying everything on credit cards. So if you feel like you do not get along with credit cards, you don't really want credit cards, that's not your preferred method of payment, then this tip might not be very helpful for you, and that's totally fine. If you are somebody who leverages credit cards to make your purchases, especially your luxury purchases, then it could be helpful to assess the type of credit cards that you're using for those purchases and selecting a credit card that you feel like will maximize the benefit and the value that you get out of it. So for example, there are certain department store credit cards that you could get if you know you're going to be making all of your purchases at Nordstrom, for example. Like Nordstrom has a credit card that comes with a whole booklet of benefits. If the benefits and the value prop work for you, then maybe leveraging your Nordstrom credit card for all of your high value purchases might mean that you hit certain rewards faster and you're able to recoup some of the costs of your luxury purchases. Department store credit cards might not be your preference. Personally, for me, it is not. So I look at the credit card options that are available, and I try to maximize the points that I get back from my purchases. There are a whole bunch of videos on YouTube that walk through the different kinds of credit cards that exist and what might be good for certain purposes. So I highly recommend you check those out if you're interested, because I am no professional. But for me personally, I am mindful of what kinds of benefits I can get from certain cards, and I will try to maximize the benefits that I can get back from them, especially when I'm making these larger purchases. And my last tip is my favorite actually for online shopping, and it is to leverage cashback websites. So I have used Ebates, which is now called Rakuten because they were purchased by Rakuten. But I had used Ebates for, I want to say like 10 years now. And so I know that they are reliable in terms of actually honoring the cashback, and it is helpful for when you are making larger purchases online, and there are double cashback or triple cashback days, which can also add on top of all of your savings, right? So let's say there's like a sale at an online department store and you're using a credit card that gives you an extra boost for your points, and you also use like cashback and you're getting an extra like 5% cashback. Like all of that will add up to significant savings. So it's those kinds of like little things that when they all add up, it turns into something much bigger. So Ebates is one that I definitely use, and then another one is called Honey's. That is also one that helps to look for coupons that might be applicable to your purchase, and they will run through all of the known coupons and check for you. And in addition, they also have a cashback type concept where you are able to bank points for your purchases and then convert them into like an Amazon gift card or something like that. So if you are interested and if you haven't used any of these before, I will leave links for them down below. They are referral links, but it is so that you can get an extra bonus while you sign up and start using that service. And it's free for anybody to use. So I will leave that information in the description box in case you are wondering. All right, so that is everything. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you didn't feel like I was being Captain Obvious over here, but I think sometimes there are certain things that you kind of forget or you hear about and you feel like maybe it's not really applicable for you, where in fact you might be able to compound all of these little tips together that result in much larger savings than you originally thought. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram, and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. If you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Sunday. So until next time,